Hi, my name is Jennifer,
And I'm Samantha.
and as you may know and stress about, solving fractal equations with imaginary numbers is a bit hard, but with a few steps, you will easily breeze through them. So, today we have a sample equation for you. It says, find the first three output values for f of z is equal to z squared plus I.
Now, fractal equations could potentially be never-ending. You can just go on and on and on solving one equation. So when it asks you to find the first three output values, you only need to find the first three output values.
So, our first input value is 0. So, we plug in 0 wherever we find the variable z. Our first equation will look like f of 0 is equal to 0 squared plus I. This is our first equation, and now we simplify the equation. F of 0 is equal to I. This is our first output value.
And the first output value will become the second input value. So we can rewrite the equation f of z is equal to z squared plus I as f of I is equal to I squared plus I. Now, as we know, I squared is equal to negative 1. So we can rewrite this again as f of I is equal to negative 1 plus I, which will become our second output value. Like the first output value becomes the second input value, the second output value will become the third input value. So we can write it again as f of negative 1 plus I is equal to negative 1 plus I squared plus I. And negative 1 plus I can be rewritten as negative 1 plus I times negative 1 plus I plus I. And when factored, this will give us 1 minus 2I plus I squared plus I. And as we know from the previous example, I squared is equal to negative 1. So we can rewrite it again as 1 minus 2I minus 1 plus I. And when simplified, this will give us f of negative 1 plus I is equal to negative I, which is our third output value. And as they only asked us to find the first three output values, we can stop here with our third output value.
Now that we have found our first, second, and third output values, we can put it in an answer form. So our answer will start. It's the first three output values of f of z is equal to z squared plus I will be I. And remember, when listing your three output values, you have to write them in the same order you found them. So f of I will be our first number, then our first value. Our second output value will be placed second, and our third output value will be placed third. This is our answer now.
So I hope you learned a lot in our lesson on how to solve fractal equations with imaginary numbers, and we'll be able to solve any equation that comes your way. Thank you.
Thank you. So you may be wondering why you are asked to solve fractal equations with imaginary numbers. This is because it gives you an idea of where the equation is placed on a graph.
If the numbers seem too big, chances are they're not going to be on a graph. If the numbers seem small and relatively easy to graph, they're probably going to be on a graph.